How is everybody doing?
We're good.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here with us.
How is everybody doing?
We're good.
Good. I kind of feel like I should have retitled this session because there are a couple of things that I plan to speak on. It's really in looking at your own self-mastery and the power of self-mastery when it comes to leadership. But I wanted to start off with, or I guess the reason why I titled it Goofy Talk is because I feel like Goofy is that one Disney character who ends up leading a room without anyone even suspecting that he's doing it. Like no one even knows that that's what's happening when he does that. So before I even go ahead and like dig into that or show you a little bit of what I mean with that, can I get a little rapport with the room? Like who do I have in front of me right now? And why were you interested in this session? Danae, I know it's because you're my moderator.
All right, go ahead. You're next.
I'm Josh, and I'm basically here to talk to people way more than I used to.
Okay. You hear that? He's Josh, and he's wants to learn to talk to people more open up, be a little more sociable, and he's a good break dancer too, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
Nice. Awesome. Is there anyone else in there? Because I can't really see everybody. I just see two. Yeah. Hi. And you are? Perfect. Okay, cool. So, all right, I'm going to show you guys a really quick, silly 3-minute video, but I'd like to get your thoughts on this video. All right, you can see my screen, right?
It's loading.
Okay. Let me know when you're there.
We see.
Perfect. All right, let's watch this together.
Mickey and the Roadster Racers. Magical moment. Goofy is racing against TV hero Morty McCool in the Daredevil Contest of Heroes. But there can only be one winner.
Now it's just now and McCool. All they gotta do to win this contest is get across Hot Mud Canyon. Come on!
Wait till the Goof gets a load of my super boosters.
Wowza doodly doo. Mr. McCool has a trick up his sleeve, but so do I. Let's show him, Tubster. Good luck, Mr. McCool!
I don't need luck. I'm Morty McCool. Oh boy, that was unexpected. Cha-cha-cha!
Gorge, somebody should help Morty. I should help him.
What are you doing?
I'm keeping it McCool by helping you. And the Goof is showering McCool with help.
Thanks, pal. See ya.
Goodness. Oh, McCool wins the race.
Oh, yeah. I'm the winner. Me, it's all Morty, baby.
Wow, I saved my hero. Uh-oh. Time to deploy the emergency shower curtain.
Goofy, are you okay?
I'm safe, and so is Morty.
But he stole the win from you.
Some hero. He didn't even thank you for saving him. Oh, he's just a big palooka.
You know, this whole contest has got my brain a-thinking. Morty McCool might be cool on TV, but he's really not a very nice feller.
You can say that again.
And if that's what it takes to be a daredevil hero, then who needs it? I totally agree with you, Goofy. While Morty McCool did finish all the challenges, he's not this year's winner. You are. Me? Yes, you. There's more to being a hero than action, stunts, and winning. There's good sportsmanship and heart. And you, Goofy, are the total package. Gorge.
He may not have finished the race, but thanks to his great sportsmanship, Goofy's shown that he's the real daredevil hero. Keep watching for a...
All right.
Wow.
So, yeah. This is one of the reasons why I love Disney stories. But I'd like to know, what are your thoughts on that short little 3-minute clip? I can barely hear you, so someone's going to have to translate.
People can be heroes without anyone noticing.
Hey, excellent point. Oh my God.
Yes.
Did you hear him?
Yes, I did. That is great. What else did anyone else notice?
You don't have to follow the crowd.
Yes.
You don't have to conform if everybody's, walking a tight line. You can still do the right thing and be goofy.
Yep. Absolutely. Anything else anyone noticed?
Everyone can have any talents, and they might, and they don't need to be in the crowd to show the talent.
I say honesty is the best policy.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, so as you can see, like within the story of Goofy, it's not so much that he was looking to stand in a position of leadership, and yet he led everybody who witnessed him, right? Like everything that he did in being a leader in that space was really not even him trying to communicate that he was a leader, or him trying to stand in the position of leading and standing out. Yet Morty, the character of Morty, that's what he was all about, taking pictures of himself. It's all about him. Check me out. This is my story. Look at me. And yet he didn't show any form of leadership. He just showed his own selfish desires and what it is that he was aiming for, and how he pretty much really used Goofy to get there. And so I really, really love that 3-minute clip because of all of the highlights that it has in it in that way. So I want to use that story as an introduction to the communication that I wanted to talk about in regards to leadership and self-mastery. Self-mastery, most people hear that and they're going, what exactly is self-mastery? Are you getting to a place of perfection and a point of, a destination of being an ultimate state? And that is not what self-mastery is. Self-mastery is actually the journey of mastering yourself. You are mastering yourself emotionally, mastering yourself mentally, mastering yourself physically. And what I really loved about that 3-minute clip is that Goofy expresses that mastery, that when it came down to it, he found himself in a position of either I can choose to help someone or I can choose to win. That's a self-mastery moment where he could have chosen himself, but he chose to be of service instead. And he chose to serve Morty. So he managed his emotions in that state. And so when it comes to really looking at standing in a position of how do I best serve? How do I best live out this space of mastering myself, looking at those layers of mastering your emotions, mastering your mentality, mastering your physical state. And we can dig into all of the elements of that within that Goofy video, because he touches every single one, every single layer he touches upon that. He acknowledges integrity and why integrity is important. Goofy moves with his heart in everything that he does and why that space is important. But I actually want to speak to how you can communicate in a really strong way without ever saying a word, not one solid word. So it's kind of like this. If I was to speak to you right now and I just spoke to you like this, how are you guys doing? What's going on? How are you liking the summit so far? It's cool. It's great. Yeah. What does this communicate to you guys?
That you don't care.
What does this communicate to you guys as I listen?
The board.
And what exactly does this communicate to you guys?
You're frustrated.
And what does this communicate to you guys? So it's the whole thing of the way that you are physically, the expressions of your face, especially now in being in the virtual space and being on camera and on screen, how you can communicate so very much without saying a word. So when it comes to people who are important to you, when it comes to engagements and interactions that you know you are trying to make an impact or you are trying to have a lasting impression, what you do, how you express yourself, the physical ways in which you communicate are just as important as the verbal. They're just as important as what you are actually stating by word, right? So that's what I actually also want to jump back to that Goofy video about. At first, when you saw Goofy, he's all smiles, everything about him. Like even now, if you think about that video, although he dealt with moments in which there were struggles, there were times in which he was dealing with highs and lows of really trying to manage the situation. Did you ever see his, do you feel that you ever received his expression of true frustration, anger, true doubt as he was going through it? Or is what you're left with from watching that clip and that experience still tied back to how he stepped in service, the heart of who he is and what he did, where his engagement was with Morty and everyone else who was watching?
It was all automatic.
Right? Like at the end of the day, his expression and what he went through is not really what stood out to you. It was actually his actions and the way in which he moved out or moved forward in what he was doing, which again exemplifies self-mastery. It's kind of like, it's one of those scenarios like when you're dealing with a hard situation, hi, Dr. Gamble, when you're dealing with the scenario in your world where things fall apart, where right now you guys have been dealing with the summit and putting everything together. Sometimes you have technical difficulties. Sometimes you have disconnections. Sometimes you're able to communicate really clearly with each other. And other times your emotions can get in the way and cause you to not be able to communicate very clearly. I have a tool for you that you can use to begin to master yourself when you're dealing with some rough emotions or some rough times, in order to really start to master yourself on different layers. So we as human beings, we're made up of 5 core elements: your heart, your mind, your body, your soul, and your spirit. Those are your 5 core elements. Each one of those elements has a question. That question never changes. It's always the same question. It's either applied towards your present state or it's applied towards your future state. But here are the questions. Within the heart, looking at present state, what is it that you are feeling? So let's talk about what you guys have been going through. The technology and the fact that you had some disconnects, it caused some frustration, right? Where you're like, oh my gosh, can't figure this out. So that present feeling was frustration, right? The mind is, what is it that I need to know? In present state, what is it that I need to know? So now you're dealing with frustration. What is it that I need to know? Let's say it's the connection. You're going, I need to know why this isn't working, right? So that's what's going on in the mind. Physically, what are you experiencing? With the frustration, what would you say are some of the physical things that you were experiencing?
The technical devices, like how they're not working.
Mm-hmm. So physically, like, what were you experiencing?
Heart rate increases, low palpitation.
Mm-hmm. Which was making you feel like what?
Very anxious.
Perfect. So I'm going to change the word for the heart as to what you were feeling was anxiety, right? You were feeling anxious. Mind-wise, what you wanted to know was what was wrong. Physically, you were feeling nervous or anxiety or pretty much not constrained. With the anxiety, you were feeling out of sorts, right? So then the next space to go into is spirit, which is, what is it that you need to be enlightened to? And the question in the enlightenment space is, what is the all-knowing thing that I could know right now? What is the thing that could solve this scenario? What am I missing from this space? Now, let's just say we don't know the answer to that. So that stays as a question mark, right? When you step into the soul, which is where the ego resides, that is the space in which you would come to a place of sacrifice. What is it that I'm willing to sacrifice in order to gain a knowing of this scenario, in order to find out what I need to be enlightened to, because I don't know what that is. So what is it that I'm willing to sacrifice? That's where you step into the knowledge of, well, I'm willing to sacrifice not knowing exactly what went wrong. I want to be enlightened to, what is the answer to fix this, right? When you end up walking through that and you go, what is the answer to fix this? There are several options for me to deal with what the answer could be. Either I can get another tool, another resource. I can actually use a different piece of software. I can get someone else who has a better understanding of this software than me to come and work on this, where now you're giving yourself other options to work with. So it doesn't feel like the answer only needs to come from you. You now have other resources and other avenues that you can use to solve the problem. Does that make sense in regards to really trying to look at, all right, I have to do this versus I have options on how I can do this?
Yes.
Okay. So that's one of the ways, like, to do a walkthrough in mastering yourself and in trying to figure out what to do. I'll give you a different example, and it's one that I always tend to give. If you are, let's say you are a driver of a car, and you go out to your car and it doesn't start. It just won't work. No matter what you do, you try to, turn it over and it just will not work. You have an appointment that you need to get to, and this vehicle won't move. Now, the first feeling that happens is anger. Like, I don't understand. I've got to get somewhere and this thing won't work. What is the deal here, right? The second thing that happens, you run into your mind, like, what is it that I need to know? I need to know why this vehicle won't work because I've got places to go. When it comes to your body, what is it that you're experiencing? I'm experiencing a lack of freedom. I need to be able to do what I have to do right now. I need to be able to go when I need to go. So what is it that I need to be enlightened to? Are there other choices? Do I have other options? Is this vehicle the only thing I have to get me to where I need to go? Can I Uber? Can I phone a friend? Can I ride my bike? Can I walk there? Can I go to a neighbor? Is there someone else that I can call? And then the last thing is with the soul, what is it that I'm willing to sacrifice? I'm willing to sacrifice that this vehicle is the only way for me to get to what my appointment. I'm willing to sacrifice that I have to get to this appointment today. Can I call? Can I reschedule it? Can I actually just go ahead and choose the Uber or phone a friend or get on a bike and do it differently? And that's the way that you end up walking through that self-mastery, because all of that, as you walk through that, you actually come to a place of calming yourself down. You come to a place of coming together in your thoughts as to, I don't really need to really like push forward in being angry because this vehicle, it's not the car that's making you angry. It was the feeling of a lack of freedom is what was making you angry. Not being able to do what you want to do at that time is what was making you angry. Now, what I just walked you through, most people don't do. They kind of just sit in the moment, they just be angry and they're just, all upset and just kind of leave it like that. That anger then turns into, I'm going to be angry at someone, usually a family member, a partner, a friend. And now you're taking something that could have been solved in your own self-mastery and you're passing it on to someone else. And now that person, because they're feeling your anger, passes it on to someone else. And then that person passes it on to someone else. And when you start to master yourself, you really help to eliminate that. You eliminate the passing on of unnecessary emotions and breaking other people down for no reason. So it's just a tool that I offer you guys because it's something that I use in mastering myself. And I'd love to know if you have any questions about it or if you could see yourself using it at any point within your lives.
Yes. Me personally, I think that I use that more like in school because I be stressing a lot. Like I get so stressed over school, it doesn't make sense. So I was definitely using those element steps.
Awesome. Awesome. But yeah, it's like it's interesting how when you end up doing that little walkthrough internally, that those are the ways in which you can walk through life in a healthier way and in a stronger way and in a much more self-empowered way. So I know we have an attendee who specifically came on learning how to communicate better. So I'd love to know, what are the ways in which you currently are seeing some struggles in communication? And I'd love to be able to help you more specifically if I can.
People can barely hear me that much. And when I'm trying to talk, I basically like pause myself right there. And when I do talk to somebody, it's basically on my family. And the only, I think I want to learn to talk a little better because no one does not understand how I think.
Okay.
And what I say, a person has troubles that do not show that much until someone actually hit that limit. I always try to keep my anger in check and funny, and always trying to show what I can do or how I experience with other things.
I actually appreciate your pauses when you speak. So here's one of the things that tends to be a struggle for public speakers is their lack of pause. Most public speakers usually speak so quickly and are so very much looking to run into the next topic, the next thought, the next subject, grab the next person, look at me trying to get your attention, that you as the listener, when you're taking in information, sometimes it takes you a little, it's like a reverberated response in taking in the information. So you need the pause before you can move on to the next thing because it helps you to digest the information. So, first thing I say to you is you should look at your ability to pause as a strength because not many people have it. And usually, out of nervousness, people speak very quickly. Very quickly. So much so, yeah. So much so that you need them to slow down so that you can keep up with what they're saying and what they're trying to communicate. So, kudos to you for having the ability to pause. That's excellent. I would say to you, if you were looking to practice on how to be more effective in what you are communicating, then it is in really trying to pay attention to what someone is, when you are talking to someone, what they are trying to get across to you that you need to connect with. So it's simply like this. Lots of people tend to get into conversation or dialogue, but you're not doing active listening. You are standing in front of someone and you're listening to what they're saying, but your thoughts are caught on what it is that you can say next. That's not active listening. Because what's happening is if I start to talk to you about, oh my goodness, so how many of you love shopping? What are your thoughts about shopping? Perfect. So when it comes to shopping and getting into like some fashionable items, like let's talk about what the high end area looks like and what everything about like luxury fashion looks like, from clothes to handbags to jewelry to shoes. Like right now your mind is racing. It's running to like a bunch of different things, different reference points. You're thinking about all the different subjects, right? As I'm saying, so yeah, let's talk about it. Let's get into it. You have no idea where I'm going, but you have gone somewhere already. And with me stating all of that, I can jump back to, I want to talk specifically about leather in luxury fashion. Everything about leather in that space. Let's talk about leather pants, leather jackets, leather bags. Let's just talk about all those pieces. Again, your mind goes to your point of reference when I say that, right? So you're jumping to your own point of reference and you're ready to talk about it, what that point of reference is. Active listening is going, okay, you want to talk about handbags. You want to talk about luxury handbags. You reference, or luxury items. You referenced handbags, leather pants, leather clothing. Okay. So what would you like to say about leather items in luxury fashion? See, that's active listening. When you're not active listening, here's what it sounds like. You reference luxury handbags. I saw a Chanel bag the other day, and oh my gosh, that bag looks so nice. Like, oh my goodness, I saw I don't know, I saw Megan with like some leather pants the other day, and she was on stage and it was like awesome. So what is it that you like about leather? Do you see the difference? Like I jumped to all of my points of references before I came back to, oh, wait, you were talking about leather in luxury fashion. You were trying to get somewhere. Where is it that you were trying to go? Versus, I have some thoughts about what you were saying. I want to get my thoughts out first, and then we'll get back to whatever it is you were talking about when it comes to luxury handbags and leather items. But you see, even that, my thought is caught on luxury handbags. But when I started the conversation, I said leather luxury items. I didn't stop on handbags. I was saying clothes, handbags. I was identifying several things. But my point of reference right now is going only to handbags. Does that make sense? So when it comes to active listening and you're looking at communication and you want to be a more effective communicator, you have to start doing active listening. As soon as your mind starts to wander into how you feel about what someone is saying to you, just know that you are no longer doing active listening. And that's when you pause and bring yourself back to, wait, what is it that you're trying to say to me? What is it that you want to communicate to me? And then you just repeat it back to the person. If you get lost in your thoughts, you repeat it back to the person. So what I hear you saying is you want to talk about luxury fashion and leather in luxury fashion. Yes, that's what I want to talk about. Okay. What about it? Right? That's active listening. That's effective communication, where you are truly paying attention to what an individual has to say and not focused on your own thoughts. So I just really wanted to, highlight that. I don't know if you have any other highlights or elements about effective communication that you wanted to speak to. Okay. Is there anything that any of you would like to speak to in regards to effective communication or even self-mastery when it comes to leadership and communication?
I have a question.
Sure.
Like I can communicate with people, but like when I'm in a crowd, like I get shy, but I don't know how to stop that, and I start talking fast, like I am now. I'm trying not to talk fast, but it's like, yeah.
Perfect. So when you're the most comfortable, what are some of the things that make you the most comfortable? Like what is it about the space that makes you the most comfortable?
Like I know people, like I know the people I'm talking to, and like
Perfect.
how they're like, I know like how to communicate like on a different level and stuff like that.
Perfect. So here's how you change that when you walk into a room or you have to speak to a bigger crowd of people. First, build rapport. And rapport means that you're going to ask them a question that you feel like if you knew a little more about them, it would bring you a place of comfort. Right? So if your conversation, if your speech is going to be about flowers, right? Let's say that's what you're going to speak about is flowers. Then when you walk into the room, you can say, so what are some people's favorite flowers? Like, tell me. Like a couple of you, just tell me, what are some of your favorite flowers? Right? Then a couple of people be like, I like sunflowers. I like roses. I like daisies. Right? I like tulips. But now you'll feel a little more connected to the people in the room. And because of that connection, it will bring you to a place of calmness. And then you can go ahead and speak because now you've built rapport. Is that helpful?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. I think I hit my 2-minute mark, right?
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you guys for being here.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I appreciated talking to you.
One quick comment, I can do that. I love that nonverbal communication. You're not old enough, but you know, when I grew up, my mom just looked at me, knew what to do. That and like you said, it's not about you, it's about others.
Yes, for sure. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Patricia.
You're very welcome. Have a beautiful weekend, guys.
All right.
Same to you.
You too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.